So 2023 is now well underway, and of course us Nintendo Switch gamers are awaiting the next major Nintendo Direct event, the first one to kick off the year that will likely bring in a plethora of brand new game announcements. However, interestingly, Nintendo has actually taken to the internet to update and build out a specific webpage focusing on their 2023 games roadmap. And in today's video, I want to take a look at that entire webpage together, break down which notable releases we already know to expect, highlight which ones we should definitely mark on our calendars to check out, and have a broad conversation on how 2023 so far is lining up for the Nintendo Switch when it comes to new games right now. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. As I mentioned, guys, today we are taking a look at a specific web page over on Nintendo's official website. However, it is the UK version of their Nintendo.com website, but I found this type up pretty fascinating because I do think they may do something like this for the US region as well, but it is them straight out promoting and outlining their 2023 games roadmap. And while we do have a similar website on the official Nintendo Switch section of upcoming releases, there's a little bit more work that goes into this, almost news article style, on how the 2023 Nintendo Switch games lineup is looking so far. And right at the top, you can see the statement, here's how 2023 is shaping up on Nintendo Switch. And while yes, I'm sure we are around the corner for many additional announcements that we can be talking about, and that will come into section towards the end of the video more, but we do have to first spend a little bit of time on what is officially announced from Nintendo. This is actually featuring multiple different games, whether they're first party published titles or not, and number one on their list is Persona 3 Portable and Persona 4 Golden, both out January 19th, mind you. And these are fantastic story-driven JRPG games that I honestly need to get more into and give more of a chance to the entire Persona series. It is beloved by fans, and it has been highly anticipated to come to the Switch, as it's really just the perfect no-brainer platform for this series. And especially when you talk about things like handheld play capability with these Persona games, especially if you own a OLED model, I can only imagine how the colors are going to pop, and that is the perfect type of game to experience with the versatility of portable play. So remember that January 19th we'll have those two classic Persona games to offer. Fire Emblem Engage is arguably the biggest release for Nintendo in January, hands down the only first party published title from Nintendo this month. And Fire Emblem is yet another tactical RPG style series that has never blown up to mainstream levels of success, but there's so much character recognition due to their integration in the Smash Bros series, and people that get hooked into this franchise, once they are hooked, cannot get away from them. So this is an exciting addition for the Nintendo Switch 2023 lineup, in my opinion, and getting us kicked off in a strong foot when we talk about the January games lineup, because that's already going to be here before we know it too. Just about 9 days to go from the time of filming this video that we can expect Fire Emblem Engage to be available and playable. Octopath Traveler 2 is next up on the list, out February 24th. A lot of people did not think that we would get a sequel to the original Octopath Traveler, and Nintendo just wowed fans with this and showed up with, I mean, let's be honest, probably the most beautiful HD 2D pixel art style game. I think when it comes to a presentation of a love letter of classic SNES era games, they don't get any more visually pleasing than this, and that will be out February 24th. And on that same day, we have yet another Kirby game in Nintendo's lineup. Kirby has gotten so much love recently, but this is actually a classic Wii port known as Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe. And this is one that I can see myself having a ton of fun with, the couch co-op element, playing together with friends locally. Unfortunately, it does not look like online play will be in the mix for this, even though it very much should be. But when it comes to a side-scroller Kirby adventure, this one I think is going to fare very well on the Nintendo Switch. And when I see classic Wii ports like this brought over, it honestly just makes me wish that Nintendo would do that treatment with many other games from the N64, GameCube, Wii, and even DS 3DS and 3DS era titles that I think would do fantastic on the Switch. But nonetheless, that rounds out our February 24th date, which hopefully by then we will actually have a much clearer picture of what is following in months to come, because I don't think Nintendo airs their first direct of the year any later than the middle part of February. So around then we should know more as far as what the rest of this roadmap will look like. Bayonetta Origins is one that was revealed at the Game Awards 2022. Now this is a game that I think you can argue at first glance does not really warrant a $60 price point, and that's what it will be launching at. So I will definitely be sitting on the sidelines looking into reviews for this, but I do think it's cool that Bayonetta is getting more of a hardcore, deep cut story for the fans that really want to know the lore of the series. And it does have a unique art style, just one that I don't think catches that $60 AAA look to it. I definitely think this could have been sold as a $30 or $40 title, maybe even a eShop drop only. But regardless, this is another title that Bayonetta fans may want to pay attention to when it drops on March 17th. Just don't expect the exact same style of gameplay, as this is more claimed to be a storybook inspired adventure, and I think a little bit more puzzle focused as well from the looks of the trailers. And that will round out the entire month of March from what we know to expect. Now then we skip the month of April at that point. Could we just wait a full year and Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp just surprise drops a full year after it was originally supposed to come out? That's what I would think is likely to happen, but there's no telling what the status of that game is, when Nintendo's actually going to pull the trigger on it due to real world events. I think that they've been more than respectful with what they need to do as far as holding that game back, but they got to put it out at some point. So maybe April is the month that does finally see the light of day. I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't think that fans should be waiting any longer for people who are ready to hop back in and experience Advance Wars once again. But whether or not Nintendo just surprise drops that game with a release date on Twitter, or if they do another feature in an upcoming Nintendo Direct, we will have to wait and see for that. Past that, we are obviously in, I think you can say, the biggest month for Nintendo's 2023 entire games lineup. We are talking about Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom finally launching, the longest development time in between any mainline Zelda game ever. Fans are eager for this one, and it is following up the all-time hype and success of Breath of the Wild, which took the Zelda formula and evolved it into an open world experience and hit it out of the park entirely, with fans legitimately taking Zelda up to a new level of success that it has never seen before. We are 27+ million total unit copies sold of Breath of the Wild right now, and we have a lot of fans with eyeballs on Tears of the Kingdom, and we want to see what Nintendo is going to do in terms of new risks, new gameplay elements. Are traditional dungeons back? Do we have serious underground portions of the map in addition to the skies above? And then is there just like a new portion of the map entirely that we couldn't get to before? There is so much unknown and anticipation built up around this game. I think we have to see more of it and have that curtain finally pulled back fully at the next Nintendo Direct. I don't think this game gets its own standalone Direct, but rather it is the feature, once again a show closer, as it has been a staple for Nintendo for doing that so far at the February Nintendo Direct, and we get a much deeper dive into the gameplay and the ultimate marketing lead up to May 12th, which is a huge date for Nintendo. And we will likely also see heavy promotion around a Nintendo Switch OLED model for Tears of the Kingdom. A wild card shot is new, more powerful Switch hardware alongside the launch, but with the recent leak, I do think that it is more likely that that Tears of the Kingdom OLED edition Switch is where we should be setting our expectations. Nonetheless, you then get past that, and we are more into some games that I haven't done a lot of research on. Raincode is one that Nintendo's talking about themselves, or Master Detective Archives Raincode rather. I will look into that one myself. Minecraft Legends is going to be a big title for the Nintendo Switch. You know the mainstream success of Minecraft. Just about every gamer out there, young and old alike, have heard of the name, and it's absolutely swept through the younger generation at a crazy fast pace. And this is a big addition to the series with more of a battle and action strategy spin on the series so far, and Nintendo clearly knows that, as they are outlining it in their own games roadmap of things to look forward to this year. Pikmin 4 is a 2023 title, but we know nothing of what to expect. We haven't even seen straight up gameplay footage of this yet, and And if I'm a betting man, this falls into the later portion of 2023, and I will definitely be excited to see more. Disney Illusion Island is one that actually looks like a lot of fun to me if you just look at the gameplay from the trailer that they've put out for it so far. I grew up playing the classic 2D Mickey Mouse games back on the SNES and Sega Genesis and had a ton of fun with them. And while the gameplay style looks slightly different than that, it kind of expands upon that same style of 2D action adventure platforming with friends involved. So think like your new Super Mario Bros. U type of experience, but with Mickey Mouse characters and level design. And that is also one on Nintendo's roadmap for 2023 content. Then you have an interesting, more recent type of strategy from Nintendo, which is a roadmap of downloadable content, both for mainline titles like the expansion pass for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is back from the dead. It's not the Mario Kart game that wouldn't ever get more content for the foreseeable future. Nintendo, that thing's so freaking successful at its sales, tracking towards 50 million units sold on the Switch, which is like legitimately insane. And they decided to double down on the title and give us more content due to the success, literally doubling the tracks by the end of all of these booster course pass waves. And we still have 3 more to expect in 2023. Likely we will get the look at Wave 4 and a launch date at the February Nintendo Direct. At least that's where I'm setting my expectations. And I'm just glad that we have something new Mario Kart 2 experience while we wait on whatever the true next Mario Kart game is that I think we will not see launch until the true next gen successor to the Switch, which means that if you look at this game from when it was originally released on the Wii U, we are likely talking a 10-year content roadmap for Mario Kart when it is all said and done at the end of 2023. Now, past that, towards the bottom of the webpage, you have them kind of highlighting a few of the different third-party and more indie-style releases that will be coming to the Switch. But this is where I think that if you really zoom out and look at this entire roadmap of what Nintendo's 2023 looks like so far in January, it is a very exciting prospect to be talking about what we can expect at the next Nintendo Direct presentation in terms of brand new game announcements. And then remember that even if we don't get the blowout every single title that's been rumored, like Metroid Prime Remaster, F-Zero GX port coming over from the GameCube, or even some kind of Metroid Prime 4 update with new gameplay footage or a new Donkey Kong or Mario game, if not all of that happens at the February Direct, and I don't expect all of that to happen by any stretch of the imagination, but you still have to remember that E3, at least at this point in time, is scheduled to be back in a big way in 2023. It is hosted by ReedPop and should by all accounts be a much better, well-organized convention this year, and I think Nintendo participates in that event and we get back to their traditional mainline Summer Direct presentation that I'm sure they will want to steal the show with and reveal some major projects both for long-term 2 or 3 years down the road, as well as short-term games that will be launching in the upcoming months past the summer. Then we still have a third Direct to look forward to in September that I think is likely to add in new system additions to things like Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack. Hopefully we're talking about the entire Game Boy family of systems at something like that event. And by that point in time, we may actually have finally a gameplay trailer for Metroid Prime 4, the official announcement of whatever Donkey Kong has planned next, and Mario's big return in some way, shape, or form. All said, 2023 has the potential to be one of the best years in gaming, period, and it seems like we kind of say that every year, but if Nintendo really stacks their release lineup correctly alongside and around of Tears of the Kingdom, I think this year goes down in many gamers' minds as one of the best ever, period. I want to hear from you guys at this point in the video, your personal list of games that you are most excited to see in 2023, both announced and unannounced. Which ones are you picking up day one? Which one are you going to look at reviews on and decide after it's out? And out of all of the heavily rumored projects, which ones do you want to see hopefully officially announced and when this year in 2023? So regardless of your thoughts and feelings on everything we talked about today, I do look forward to hearing from you all in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Go watch yesterday's video next if you haven't already, which is on screen right now. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.